Hello everyone, this is Larry Robertson, and welcome to the 6th episode of TMS Tightrope Carousel 6.4.5 RSS feeds. In this episode, we're going to go through creating an RSS bulletin with a channel icon and icons for each item as well. Alright, let's take a look at what it's going to look like when we're done. I've already pre-made one here, and we're going to recreate it from scratch. Alright, it's right down here at the bottom. This is what it's going to look like, and the idea when it gets presented on live television is this question mark and the test channel level title is going to stay intact. It'll always be at the top, and if you have more than one screen full of items at the item level, each one with an icon here, then they will scroll through from screen to screen while the channel level title and that question mark icon remain at the top. So let's get started and see if we can create this thing successfully. I'm going to go back up to a new bulletin. And while that's trying to load, let me just rock over and show you. This is the source code to the feed. As you can see at the channel level here, we have a title and we have an image right below it here. Now the image element has a child element of URL, and that points to the image, of course. And I've set the height and width to 60 on this at that level. So that matches the height and width of what I'm going to display it as in the template. And then each item also has an image, a title, a description, and an image, but the title level image is in an enclosure tag. It doesn't use, if you try to use this image and copy it down into the title or the item level, it's not going to work. At the item level, you have to use an enclosure that's in the schema. And an enclosure is structured a little differently. It just has a URL attribute where you specify the path to the picture. And the content of the element is empty, as you can see by the slash close angle bracket. And all of these are the same. Another note about the item level. In Carousel, the field name is image or item image URL, but the element name actually in your feed is going to be enclosure. It's kind of confusing on that one. Whereas if you go up to the channel level, the field name in Carousel is channel image URL, which makes more sense because you have a channel element, then an image element, and then a URL element. So I don't exactly know what they were thinking, or if the schema was different at the time they designed this, and maybe an image was allowed here, but I kind of doubt that very much. So I'm sure they had their reasons for doing that. Anyway, let's see if my computer's going really slow today. So okay, now the dynamic tab came up. So we're going to go back to create this bulletin. It's going to be RSS Bulletin. And we have to paste the URL in the top field there. So let me go get the URL. I just happen to have it right here. I can copy it to the clipboard and go over and paste it in. So now we have our URL. And on this screen, we need to make a couple of changes. Maximum inputs per bulletin, or maximum items, I'm sorry, per bulletin. Set that to 0, and the item spacing you want to set to 5. Leave the sort order at feed default, character limit 0, and the time per bulletin is up to you. I've got mine set to 15 seconds. Continue. Okay, on this screen I want to change the background because I don't like that default background. I'm just going to make it blue. Alright, and also while we're here, copy the channel image URL to the clipboard That's the field name in Carousel that I was talking about. It shows here a list of the fields that are available. And then we want to go in and edit. Now there's some stuff that's not in the feed that we don't need. So I'm going to delete some blocks here. For example, channel pub date's not in the feed, so get rid of it. Neither is channel copyright, get rid of it. And this blue bar background, I'm going to get rid of it because I just want a plain Jane. Alright, now let's set some other stuff up here. Let's start with the channel title. We want to position this, and I already have some figures that I have jotted down here that I'm going to set these things to make it go a little faster in the video here. Okay, the top set to 21, the left 120 or 168, and the width is 660. The height is 58. All right. And while we're here, we also want to take a look at the font. You can have any font you want, but the main thing is this check box should be set to, it should be on, size text to fit. Make sure that's checked. By default in the template, it should be checked, but just double check it. Okay, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to add the channel image. I moved that over to the left, as you can see, to make room for the image. So let's go ahead and add that image that we copied the field name to the clipboard. So I'm going to say create a new one. I'm going to call this channel channel image, and it's going to be of type web picture. And I'm going to open up the picture and change this URL to be the field name that we had copied to the clipboard. Make sure maintain aspect ratio is checked. It should be by default, because unless you change your default template, it's going to be already checked. All right, the next thing that we want to do is size this up. And the size, set the top to 17, the left 79, the width 60, and the height 60. And the height 60. All right, the next change we have to make here is under options. You want to turn this repeat checkbox off. In the template, images are set to repeat by default because they're assumed to be at the item level most of the time, which is probably true. So at any rate, just turn that off. All right, let's move on to the next tag, which is the item title. So I'm going to single click that, and we're going to go set the size and position on those. The top is 97. The left is 156. The width 709, and the height 45. Oops, 45. There we go. So that guy's configured. Next thing we want to look at is the font of this item title. And this one should be checked size to fit. All right. Okay, with that done, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to insert the item image. And to do that, let's go ahead and save so we can get back to the screen that shows the available fields. We're going to copy item image URL field to the clipboard. Then we're going to come back in and continue editing. All right. Pull down the blocks and choose a new block. We're going to call this item image. And we're going to set the type as being web picture. We're going to open up picture. We're going to replace the URL with the field name. And maintain aspect ratio should be checked by default. Now we got to size the picture. So the picture size here, top should be 96, left 84. The height and width should be 50 in both cases. And if we look in options again, we'll see that the checkbox repeat for each feed item is checked, and it should be. Whereas, as you recall, the one up here for the channel is not checked. Okay, that one's positioned. We also want to make sure that the size text to fit is checked. I believe I already went over that. So let's move on to the last field here. And the last field is the item description. We're going to position that. The top should be 132. Left is 195. Width is 633. And the height is 40. All right, that one's set. We're going to do this font a little bit differently. Instead of saying size to fit, we're going to set it to 28 pixels. You can play with this a bit if you'd like, but because if I found that if you set this to size to fit, the text tends to get small because usually the description has a lot of words in it. So this kind of forces it to stay big enough to be able to read it on TV. All right, I believe that's it. All we have to do is save it and continue and finish and OK. Now we got to wait for that to render, and we should see our final results. And hopefully it's going to look just like the original one that I had made in the past. All right, it's rendering. They're telling how long it's going to take. Like I said, my computer's been working very slow lately, so just bear with me. All right, there it is. We've rendered. And that's what it looks like. So you can play around with the different settings. You'll notice the text isn't the same. I don't believe it is the same as the one that we had. See, this one's using different text, a different RSS feed. But that's okay. The formatting is identical, so I guess that was a good exercise to use different data to see what it looks like. All right, that's it for this tutorial. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up at the bottom of the video if you liked it. Okay, thank you. Bye.